Pick up what she mentioned there. Congressman Langworthy also took questions today on the other looming crisis facing the federal government, the possibility of our country headed toward default for the first time ever. The deadline now just 10 days away. Langworthy supports the Republican effort right now to insist on spending cuts.
President Biden and others that are whispering in his ear, they are so addicted to spending money at very record speed. And they're so beholden to the far left. He refuses to make modest changes and reforms. It is just pure insanity.
All right, and Langworthy also talking there about how this just isn't a way that you can balance the budget by continuing to print money. Of course, in 2017, though, Langworthy's party, the Republicans, had the House, the Senate, and the presidency, but they did not insist on spending cuts back then. They just raised the limit and then added trillions to the debt. In fact, that's happened many times in the past. We asked Casey Decker with our Verify team to look into the history of the debt ceiling under both Republican and Democratic administrations.
We are potentially just a few weeks away from the United States defaulting on its debt. The Treasury Department is running out of money to pay the bills Congress already authorized, and it needs to borrow more. But it can't do that unless Congress raises the debt ceiling. Republicans who control the House say they won't vote to do that unless the bill also comes with severe spending cuts, a proposal President Biden has rejected. Verify viewer Andy heard that when Trump was president, Republicans lifted the debt ceiling multiple times without any strings attached. So let's verify. Did congressional Republicans vote to lift the debt ceiling without spending cuts during the Trump administration? Our sources are the Treasury Department, the Congressional Research Service, the Bipartisan Policy Center, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, and the American Presidency Project at UC Santa Barbara. The debt ceiling was lifted 3 times when Trump was president, once in 2017, 18, and 19. But each time, Congress didn't vote to raise the limit by a specific amount the way they usually do. Instead, they voted to suspend the debt ceiling altogether. This allowed the Treasury to borrow money at will. Then, when the suspension was over, a new ceiling was automatically installed based on how much the Treasury borrowed in the interim. As a result, the debt ceiling rose by several $1 trillion during Trump's term. So did any of those suspensions come with spending cuts like the ones Republicans are calling for now? They didn't. Some of these budgets included spending offsets, but our sources said they were mostly budget gimmicks rather than serious cuts, and they had little impact on actual spending. So we can verify, yes, during the Trump administration, congressional Republicans voted multiple times to lift the debt ceiling without spending cuts. Since 1960, the debt ceiling has been raised 78 times, 49 times under a Republican president and 29 times under a Democrat. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Casey, thank you. If there's something you want us to look into, you can email verify@wgrz.com or send us a text to 716-849-2220.